welcome to Boxing Media Hub, proudly in partnership with Falcon Contracting and Jam's Boxing Chat, and we are live. Yes, welcome to Boxing Media Hub, and my special guest this evening is the voice of the Vale, Jonathan Millard. How you doing, John?
Hi, Joe. I've got to say, I'm so impressed with your intro. Yours is so much, blows mine out of the water. I'm good. I'm good. I look a bit tired, and I'm sorry, audience, but I do look a bit tired. It's been a long week already, and it's only Wednesday, so it's just been one of those weeks. It's been a hard week. But
well, honestly, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on. Jam has come in. He's put big up Joel and Jonathan. The love is out there, mate. The love is out there. But let's go back to the start. When did it all begin for you? When did you get into your MCing? Because you're very good at it.
Okay, the origin story, which I've told this before, and it's out there in other places. So I'll give you a sort of overview of it. I wanted to get fired, hated my job, and I was working in a call center. So I was doing impressions and trying to do random voices, and I won't go to them now because they'd probably get us cancelled. But I was just messing around, and I was just. And he said, "Oh, can you do?" My boss was like, "Can you do a ring announcer like Michael Buffer kind of thing?" I was like, "Yeah, go on, let's give it a go. Let's see what happens." And I tried it. He's like, "Oh, hang on." Went off, disappeared, came back with another chap who runs a wrestling show down in Cardiff. He's like, "Mate, I normally MC it, but I'm also the referee." I was like, "Oh, okay. So would you come and do the MC bit? And I'll just do the referee bit." And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Well, I like wrestling. Why wouldn't I get involved?" Turned up to the show, 200 odd people, local television cameras, all this sort of stuff. And I turned up in my Jeff Banks suit, and he was like, "Mate, you just go in the ring and just do it like you don't see it on TV." So I did loads of preparation and stuff like that. Got in. They really liked it. They said, "Oh, we want you back on the next shows up in the valleys." And it just started snowballing from there. We just started doing more and more work, started liking it, doing more and more. Just got into the sort of promotion side of it, got into the design of posters, all those sort of things and crazy things that you do. And then opportunities came and knocking when I met up with, connected with some other MCs. Ricky Wright was actually the one. He gave me an opportunity to go up to Stoke and cover a show for him because he couldn't do it for whatever reason. And met Ross Poynton. And I stuck with Ross then and started doing MMA shows. And then I know how it all sort of got to. We started doing Muay Thai, boxing, white collar, the 8-week training camp thing, and started doing those. Started connected with a guy in Manchester called Ian. He runs the one up there. Worked with him for 6-7 years, and then the matchroom competition came along, where they were on search for their next MC to take over from, I guess, the man. And I entered the competition, 400 odd entries, got into the final 12. From the final 12, we went up to Sky Sports, met Michael, Eddie, Adam, and Meridian Dan, all a panel of them. And I was selected as one of the first two that went through. There was me and another girl called Trinity. We were the first two that went through. And then there was a bit of a sort of repeat performance. He asked if you were back in, and then the guy who actually won it was one of those four that went back in. And then I thought, well, I didn't make it, but I got to the final. And I thought that's pretty damn good. Obviously, they must see something in me that they wanted to give me that opportunity to get that far. I have my thoughts and reasons why I didn't get any further, but again, I'll keep those to myself. And then it was I went for my license, and then I got my license. In front of the board, had to do a ring announcer in front of the board to make sure it was all kosher, and they signed me off, and I got my deal. And then COVID, so I had a license. I was booked on one show, I think the show ended up with 4 fights on it, and big complication. They had booked another MC anyway, so 2 MCs turned up to that show, and I just sat back and just went, I haven't got a clue what I'm doing here, to be brutally honest with you. COVID hit, and then we were like, okay, and then the rest is history, as they say, because now where I am, after a couple of years working board shows and still doing some other bits and bobs, and yeah, sort of that's where I am, and that's where we bumped into me in the York Hall. So thank you for inviting me on the podcast. There you go, history lesson.
Yeah, and thank you very much, John. That was no. It was, what was the? You talk about the interview process. What did you have to do during the interview? Because that must have been such a random thing to have been involved with. Like, what sort of things do they ask? Like, you say you have to do a ring announcer voice.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I can't really remember it all, but there was a lot of sort of people saying when I went for it, they were like, oh, make sure you know your weights, make sure you know your categories. I still haven't got a clue, to be honest with you. I've got a little piece of paper I take with me, and I've got the laminated sheet that the board use as well. So they all, so when they were doing the weigh-ins, I know exactly what they are. But yeah, it was that, and then there was. I think if I remember correctly, it was a Welsh Council meeting, because I'm on the Welsh board. For those who didn't know, they had their normal council meeting. They had some appeals and some issues and some fines and stuff that they had to issue. They called me in, said, "Can you prep?" I was like, "Okay." I've been there for about 2 hours already, waiting. Didn't know any more different, but it was fine. Went back out. They called someone else in, did some business that they needed to as the board, and then went back in. And yeah, literally, they were in a horseshoe around the sort of room in a Holiday Inn in Cardiff, and just plucked up the courage, went for it, and yeah, they were like, "Oh yeah, we like that. Yeah, we'll consider it and consult it, and we'll let you know." And they sent me back out. I think they did another bit of business, called me back in, said, "Yeah, we're happy to support you, and we'll put you through for your board license. You're just got to pay your fines and your fees and whatever else, and you'll have it in the post in the next week or so," or whatever it was. I can't remember how long it was, but yeah, it was a kind of like I'd imagine most boxers get pulled up in front of the board, or have the board interview. It wasn't really complicated, but it was a little bit daunting, considering it's the board. So, you want to deliver the best you possibly can for anyone anyway, but when it's the board, you kind of want to deliver a bit more. So.
No, and as I say, you've clearly done that, because, some of the shows that I've seen on telly, or some of the shows that I've been to, you've absolutely nailed it. You know how to create a real good atmosphere, a real good build-up. You've got your own style of doing things. Your humour is obviously the thing that captured me and Dad at ringside. It was absolute classic. But it's you. You're being yourself, and I think that's what we admire, John. Is you're not trying to replicate anyone that's been before you. You're not trying to be like anyone else. You are Jonathan Millard. You are who you are.
It's taken a while, and I will say that when I first started, I did an impersonation, and I certainly probably felt like that's probably what I was doing in the very first parts of it. I remember asking someone who I knew run shows, and I said, "Well, how about having me on their MC as their MC?" And they went, literally, they just turned around and said, "You need to find your own voice." And I went, fair enough. A bit of it, I was like, I might get the job. I said, no, but you had to find your own voice. And that has sort of certainly served me in that sort of, okay, there's still some things in there that, if someone says to you, "Can you do it like a," you kind of go into a bit of a twang, and you don't mean to. I certainly don't mean to, but it takes me normally a fight or two to clear that out, and then get into the normal patter. And yeah, I developed a little patter of my own. There's certain things that I say, like, distinguished guests. Why? Well, we live in an age now where everyone identifies as a man and a woman, so we kind of want to be inclusive, and that's the reason why I say it. A lot of people have asked me that question. I'm quite happy to discuss it, because we want to try and bring everyone into watching the boxing. And my philosophy on it is that I'm a side salad, if you like. People, no, look. I could be honest. No one is paying to see the MC. Okay, I have. I'm the exception to the rule. Yeah,
but it's a massive part, though, John, isn't it? I think you're overlooking yourself. Let's be perfectly honest here.
No. What I'm going to say is that you pay when you go to a nice restaurant, yeah, and you order the steak. You don't order the side salad. You order the steak. It comes with the fries or the chips or mash or whatever it comes with, yeah. But on the side of that plate is normally a salad. Now, the various different restaurants will have various different grades of salad. They'll either have like a slice of cucumber, a slice of tomato, and a piece of iceberg lettuce, yeah. Or in the more exclusive places, it'll be rocket salad, drizzled with balsamic vinegar, croutons, curly shavings of carrot and cucumber. That's what I aim to be. Is that really expensive looking side dish that accompanies the steak? The steaks are pretty much the same wherever you go. Some of them may be 28 day mature, 48 days, whatever. But the steak is the steak. At the end of the day, that's what you're paying for. And it's nice to have a little bit of a side salad. The better the side salad, the more you're going to enjoy the meal. That's my philosophy on it. And if you look on my Instagram, there's actually a bowl of salad. so yeah, that's the philosophy around it.
That's all I'm going to think of now.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
That's all I'm going to think of now, though. There's John, my favourite side salad. That's it. Yeah. Håkan, all the way from Sweden, has put good evening, Joel and Jonathan. I reckon before people start coming into the comments, what's been your favourite fight to announce? Surely you've had one to date where you think this is one that's been, or there's been a real buzz around a fight that you've really felt it as well. What's been the one for you?
I don't know, because you're working fundamentally. At the end of the day, I'm working, and it's a difficult one to say, but there's been a few fights that I've sat down and enjoyed and loved every second of the fight. Like I said, I don't make the fights. The fighters make the fights. And that can be, that could be anything in a cage, in a ring, whatever it is. That's something that I suppose in the wrestling terms, we mark on, because we're marks at the end of the day. We want to mark on great boxing. We want to mark on great fights, and we want to see it. There's one that always sticks in my mind, which was probably one of the first title fights I announced. It was a Southern area for Billy Orlington and the Ginger Rocket. And it was at the Brentwood Centre. That was probably where neck hairs stood up, and I was like, yeah, okay. The crowd was on point. I announced it, I think, on point, and I think everything was just, that was one of the best fights as well that night. It was a contender potentially for fight of the year, and it was only February when it hit, so it was that one sticks in my mind. Fighters stick in my mind. There's plenty of great fighters that I've announced, and I've been privileged to announce them, that have gone on and I've connected with and made friendships with and stuff like that. There are plenty of those that have gone through, and I suppose it's just because you're in the moment of working that perhaps you don't really see the whole side of it and the whole what fans are looking for. I try my hardest to follow it. It's sometimes just you just get to a point where I've got this, I've got that, I've got someone breathing down my neck, I've got the whip on my shoulder, I've got a camera guy there telling me what to do, or a floor manager telling me what to do. The commentary team are waving their hands at me to announce the next fight, and you can kind of get lost in it. And it's just and it's not disrespecting. I'm not trying to disrespect the fighters in what they do. I'm just telling you that that's where I am, because I'm there working. At the end of the day, that's my job to do, and give them the best introductions I possibly can, for even if it was their debut or if it's their world championship bout. I'm trying my hardest to give everyone the best possible introduction.
Yeah, no, definitely. And well, I can't. That's absolutely spot on. You do it in style, as I say, and you can see the relationship you have with fighters respect you. They come in the ring and they always sort of give you a nudge with a glove, or they feel the moment. And I think that's it. You build the anticipation, you build the atmosphere, and then the fighters take control and off they go. And then it's down to you with the announcements at the end, especially if you've got split decisions, or they're the other tense moments that you've got to get right. Do you know what I mean? We've seen people stumble, so do you know what I mean? It's a tough job.
Remembering you've got time. That's the only thing I'll only say to anyone in anything that they do. Remember, you have time. You haven't got to rush it. That in my olden days, I probably thought I had to rush through, and I got excited and I'd speed through things, and I went, no, actually, just need to stop, slow down, deliver it clearly, precisely, and make sure you try not to fuck it up. Sorry, I'm allowed to swear. I forgot that. Sorry.
You can.
So yeah,
that doesn't mean unlike.
No. But no, I think you just can't. Again, you're there to do the job, and I've met. I jokingly sometimes I've made a little mistake, or I will sit there and go. I'm probably my own worst critic as well, because I will come out of the ring and I was go beat myself on my line, beat myself up, just go, fuck, I said that wrong, or I've said that with the wrong inclination, and particularly with some of the foreign names, you're trying your hardest to get them as spot on as possible.
They're the ones I was going to say. Being Welsh, surely you know how to pronounce hard words anyway, because most of your places in Wales are horrific.
I'm not a Welsh speaker. I'm not.
Surely you know how they're meant to sound like.
Oh yeah, well we got this is an argument we can have in Wales. It's about the only argument you can have in Wales, because Welsh language changes based on the town that you lived in, pretty much. You go. I'm quite close to the English border. I'm close to Abergavenny in the valleys, where we used to be called Gwent valleys, which are the Monmouthshire valleys, and which are also classed as therefore the English valleys. Controversial, and it was only in the Act of Wales that this was actually made part of Wales. So my great grandmother, bless her soul, she died at 103. But until the days that she died, she always claimed that she was English. She always claimed she was English, no matter the fact that Wales had now become part. The area had become part of Wales. She was English. And she was happy to tell everyone that. She's even on TV, if you can find it, saying that she was English. And it's just like, how does that all come together? Because Welsh that we speak in the Gwent valleys differs from where we go across the valleys to Rhondda, the Rhondda Valley, which a lot of people know. Then if we go a little bit further, we get down to Ammerford, Swansea, and up above Swansea, that again is a totally different language, because it's Welsh, it's West Walian Welsh, and that then becomes even more different from the stuff that they say in the north, which is closer to your Liverpool, Wrexham, Conway, all the way across to Anglesey. Welsh language differs from north to south anyway, so I suppose I've got a good idea of what it's supposed to sound like. Whether it's right or wrong, it just comes down to the listener's ears, and it's that's just Welsh. That's the history lesson of Wales. There you go.
Do you get? Hard to put that in the title. We get a Welsh lesson as well. Do you get the chance to learn then obviously the names from abroad, the foreign names, because some of them are horrific and you just nail them, but is that through from someone who is absolutely shocking at getting the names right, and the other people will tell you on this channel? I kind of go, so I just want to get it right, because obviously everyone pronounces your name differently. So what is it?
I will say that thankfully, as a ring announcer, you can elongate syllables that other people in normal conversation can't do. That's the only excuse I've got. But my ethos is I tend to get to shows early. If doors are 6 o'clock, I try and be there at 3. You know, I
3.
want to be around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm not these people that turn up at the same time as the coaches and the fighters come back from. I want to be around the building. I like to see the room being set up even before there's anyone else in there. You can also grab fighters because if it's same day weigh-in, you can get there early enough. There's still fighters floating around. You can sort of catch them then and sort of say to them, how do you say it? How would you think? And you try and get into the backstage areas and try and catch those fighters if they're there. Some of them you can't always do it, and you like I said, you kind of have to you work with what you've got and your basic knowledge. Try and Google them, see if you can find any other examples of other people saying it. That's not necessarily that they're going to be right, but
This is it.
Fights, you can kind of sort of go, okay, well, that's kind of the way that they're saying it. I'll kind of emulate that and roll with it as best as I can. So. Yeah, but that's me. I like to turn up to shows early and be around if I can catch people and sort of say, why do you say that then? Just go through that again with me and then ask them to say it a couple of times. The Russians and Polish ones and they're the sort of skis and scars. They're relatively simplish. They're normally 3 or 4 letters in the syllable, and you can kind of, like I say, elongate one to make the other one sound a little bit less, and if you're unsure of it, then you can kind of get around it. Some of the African names are a bit more difficult. The silent N is always one that catches me. So
M with a B.
They catch me a couple of times, but then again, sometimes even John Smith can throw me out completely as well. So it's just like,
good old John Smith.
John Smith, particularly if you've been thinking about it too much and thinking about the opponent too much, and you get his name's David Jones or something like that, or David Johns, and I'll say them the wrong way around. Not that I'm dyslexic, just you've just been concentrating so much on getting everything else right, you kind of just go, oh, it's John David. No, David Johns. Sorry. So these things happen, and you just got to try and roll with it. I jokingly say to promoters, I've got 3-strike rule. Is that fair enough? And they go, oh, yes, I'm fine. 3-strike rule. I make 3 mistakes, if not, and I get sacked and have to give them all the money back. So.
Canners, but I'm a big fan of ring announcing. There you go, John. And when I go to the show, I'm always interested in the MC, and I have met a few, David Diamante, Ricky Wright, obviously Big Mo, and my best friend, Christian Schmidt. They've said Christian Schmidt, a great ring announcer, as is the voice of the Vale. But Buffer with Let's Get Ready to Rumble, copyright. Still makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up every time he does a show. I think, as you say, you set the tone, you set the pace, and then off the fighters go. And I think, as I say, John, I think you do a wonderful job. I think everything that you do just as yourself. As I say, the day we met you, my dad, he still turns around to me and he goes, how's that ring announcer? That really nice guy. That was his first show, John. He'd never been to a boxing show before. And he absolutely made his day. He loved every minute of it. So for him, that's going to be a big memory for him. Even though you kept going, oh, how old are you? Because it was his birthday, wasn't it? Top guy. I really appreciate it.
I mean, there's a bit of me, obviously, that like you said there, that's me, I suppose. And that kind of goes back to the wrestling kind of thing a little bit, because wrestling is a vastly different sport in regards to it. It's obviously, it is what it is. It's choreographed. We all know that there's winners and there's losers. And
I love it.
But there is a bit of pantomime, and you kind of need to get the audience on side, because it's a bit more about audience participation in that. So I kind of feel that some of the stuff that I still do is probably based in that, because I still do some wrestling shows now, across locally where I live. I've had been opportunities to announce some really big American names like Billy Gunn. I'm going to name drop now. Rhino, Eric Young, just to name a few, Xavier Woodson, and a couple of others that have sort of come over and done stuff. James Storm, they're big names in American wrestling, but then they got to get the crowd involved. If they don't get the crowd involved, then they're just doing an acrobatic. You might as well you can go to a circus and watch that sort of stuff, flips and jumps and all that sort of thing. It relies on them, and that probably where I get some of the I like to try and make sure that the crowd are enjoying themselves. I used to go around to the tables and stuff and just check everyone's having a good night. Can't do that in New York Hall, but in other venues where sit down, you can kind of just have a round little conversation, make sure they're enjoying the night, and they're like, "Oh, MC, why does he do that?" Well, that's just me, I suppose. So just make sure everyone's enjoying themselves.
Well, it definitely worked. It definitely worked because he still asks after you now, and
send him my love.
Yeah, no, I will do. And as I say, big things ahead for you, John. I know you're going to have a busy year because you are that sort of guy, and big opportunities will come your way because you absolutely deserve them. Every time you do a job, you do it absolutely spot on. Whether it's wrestling, whether it's boxing, you give it all. And I'm a major wrestling fan, so you reeling off those names just gave me a bit of a blast from the past there. So yeah. No, there's some great times ahead. And as I say, I look forward to seeing you at other shows coming up this year, wherever it will be. And
this year looks a bit weird, but I'm sure things will come together as things work out. I'm sure. Wherever I be or what I'm doing, there's still quite a bit of work coming through. I'm flat out busy from 8th of February now on to about the middle of April, so it's busy. Start down with Pat Barrett in Black Flash Promotions down in Swansea on the 8th of February, which is a rescheduled show, the show before Christmas. I don't know if your listeners are interested in this one, but it was a really random one. We got there, everyone was there, officials were there, board was there, medics that turned up. The ambulance didn't have quite the right equipment, and they had to stop the show. So obviously boxer safety first and foremost, and all the punters were coming in, streaming in, and we had to stop the fight and stop the show there and then. So it was just rescheduled into February. So we're looking forward to that one. There's some good names on there, some really good Welsh prospects as well, including Moses Jolly and Draconi. Anthony Draconi is on there. I saw Will Delaney in there as well, I think, and a couple of other names as well.
Will's a really, there's big hopes for Will, isn't there? And Moses. Both
I think Moses Jolly is one to watch. The native is definitely one to watch, and he's entertaining. He's I think he's under the tutelage of Mickey Hallett. He's definitely got something as a Welsh fighter as well. As a Welshman. Routine for him as well. So I'm not supposed to show favoritism, though. Obviously, with the board I'm watching, I didn't just say that.
But as a boxing fan, obviously, I'm not going to ask for predictions or anything like that. But what fights are you looking forward to seeing? Obviously, we've got the Baturbia Bivol coming up, another monster of a fight again. Is there any fights that you would like to see or looking forward to seeing this year?
You don't do this to me. There are already some out there that I'm looking forward to. One particular one, only because again, there's a Welsh lady in it, and that's obviously Lauren Price's fight. I'm really looking forward. I'm really looking forward to that. Also, because randomly, one of the timekeepers that I know, Peter McCann, he sends me occasionally. He goes through his memorabilia and stuff in his house, and he'll just send me a snapshot of some bits and bobs. He said, "Oh, I found this program from 1973," and I'm like, and he sent me one 2 days before that announcement of the fight came out, and he was out at Royal Albert Hall. I was going, we don't do anything at the Royal Albert Hall anymore. Wow, what a great venue. Wouldn't it be great to go back there? I'm sure. Next thing we know, Lauren Price's fight announced, and there it is. I'm going, did you know this? And he was going, no comment. I was like,
okay.
that. I mean, he might have known because he's connected. He's still got friends and stuff, so he might have known that they were in talks in the venue. But wow, what a great venue! As we talk about different venues, I mean, York Hall obviously is the iconic and historic home of British boxing. But there's more venues out there than just that, and O2 is the other one, I suppose, that a lot of people go to. O2, Wembley. But I think the Royal Albert Hall has to be up there. And as you said, Joe, you're a big wrestling fan, so you remember 1992 when we had SummerSlam in the Royal Albert Hall. Was that Wembley? Sorry. That was Wembley. Sorry, there was one in the Royal Albert Hall with the Legion of Doom main event, and I think it was the European Championship with British Bulldog. Anyway, by the by. Great venue, and there's other great venues that perhaps we need to go back over. Perhaps Boxer will do 1 or 2 shows there again. It'd be nice to see Queensbury go into the back in that, because I suppose Queensbury's kind of the historic force of British boxing, should we say?
I know what you mean.
The other two, they've
kind of
heritage.
Stuck by York Hall, didn't they? They stuck by York Hall and kept it as that iconic venue where Eddie was going O2 and, America and all this sort of thing. But, I think, as you say, it's nice to have those heritage sites kept as they are, and we get to see the boxing in them again. There's some nice words here. All the best moving forward, Jonathan, and God bless to you and yours, all the future endeavours. Hawkham.
I like the commentary. I like the commentaries on this. This is great.
That's all right. I'll be in London for Jonas versus Price, says Hawkham. He'll be travelling from Sweden.
Fair play.
Be a cracker. And Jam, love the native Moses Jolly. We had him on the channel a few months back. A real gentle giant. Yeah, he's a lovely guy. Really lovely guy. But honestly,
I've been on my podcast for a while, but it hasn't happened yet. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
It will happen, mate. But honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, John.
Is that all right? And, I thought you were going to ask me more. I'm more happy to answer more questions you've got. But thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're, as I say, you're a top guy, and I think you underestimate yourself. I think you've got a lot to give, honestly, and the proof's there because everyone said it as well. And I look forward to seeing you in the bigger fights, getting those title fights, and giving us everything, because we want to hear the voice of the Vale. That's the main thing.
Yeah, just become the voice of British boxing. I'll be happy with that one. If I can,
we'll take that. Instead. We'll take that. That'd be a nice little title, wouldn't it?
That would be a nice one.
And
lots of wheel fights. I've done a season. I've done the southern areas. I've done a northern area. I think I've done a Midlands. I haven't done a Welsh one, which is ironic. Being a Welsh MC.
Surely you'll get Will Gilheany is surely going for a Welsh soon, isn't he?
That was the fight that was supposed to happen. It was Will Gilheany and Ethan George defending his Welsh championship. That fight fell through because of the aforementioned. So yeah, but then there's other ones out there. I've done a silver Commonwealth, done English. I've done a British. I want to do a British. Done a WBA, international, and European. So they're coming. They're coming, and thank you. I hope that I can get that world title. That for all MCs, I think is the pinnacle to particularly if it was unified or undisputed, then that would be even more of a buzz, I suppose. So I hope. Let's keep fingers crossed.
Well, we spoke about leaving, but Hawkham's got different ideas, and he said, "Who's your top 5 favourite MCs?"
Ooh, okay.
Well, obviously, it's got to be yourself. It's like Mount Rushmore, isn't it? You've got to put yourself in there, haven't you?
I've got to like myself, yeah. So I like myself, yeah, without being too big-headed,
That's like Mount Rushmore, just got a 6th head.
There is.
John.
Top 5. No, I'll just count myself as one of the top 5.
Jam's reeling his off. He's put Buffer number 1.
Buffer, yeah.
Lennon Jr. number 2.
Okay.
That's not shared. He's going for it. David Diamante number 3.
Mm-hmm.
we're going all out American here. Jam, are you going to keep going, or are we just going to? We're stopping at 3.
He's thinking about it, Joe. That's what he's doing. He's thinking. He's trying to be tactical and make sure that I'm number 5. That's all. You can put me number 4. It's fine.
Number 4, Big Mo.
There you go.
We're still following the American theme here. I have to say though, I do like Big Mo. He's a really nice guy. Really nice guy.
He's exceptionally tall.
And Hawkins jumped in. Thomas Triber.
There you go.
In his opinion, he was also ex-wrestler.
Yeah. He took us.
And there you go. Number 5, Voice of the Veil, tied with Christian Schmidt. I like that.
That's 6. That's cheating. That's not...
Yeah, Christian 6 then.
If you want me to do it for me, obviously Buffer is the legend, and ultimately going to be number 1 in this. Thomas Triber's got to be in there as well, because I think Thomas Triber does a really good job. He's solid and very, very smooth on what he delivers and his delivery. Not a big fan of the bell, but that's my own personal preference. For me, there's also got to be a guy called Howard Finkel, because Finkel was the man and is the man for, if you're a fan of wrestling, then that's who you're going to go with.
He had the voice, didn't he? Let's be honest, he had the voice.
He had the voice. And this is going to be controversial because actually the other Buffer is not in my top 5. And it's not because I think there's horses and there's courses. I don't try and emulate anyone now. I try and be myself, as we talked about earlier. But a lot of people do Buffer impersonations, Bruce Buffer rather than thing. And I don't. There is only one guy that can do it. But for me, I'm not that jumpy, spinning round type of MC.
Yeah.
I'm more geared towards that. Michael Buffer, professionals, Thomas Triber. So for me, Martinez is in there.
Cool.
Joe Martinez, because again, he delivers. Even though he does boxing and he does MMA predominantly, you sort of step in for Bruce Buffer. Him for me is one of the ones that I would go with and say, yeah, that one. And I suppose then
quickly, the Australian guy who called the wrong winner is number 99.
Well, we've all made that mistake.
Daniel Hennessy, I think it was. Yeah. Daniel Hennessy.
We're not bad-mouthing. We're not bad-mouthing anyone. He does a good job. No. I don't know. That's probably my top 4, and then me. But obviously that would be too big-headed. Actually, I really like Paul Booth as well. Actually, just Channel 5 boxing as well. I know Paul quite well. So I rate Paul quite highly in regards to him. Probably on the same level as Craig Stevens. Again, those two are probably that sort of level for me as well. So that would be my sort of top 6, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, fair shout, mate. Howard Finkel, what a legend!
You've got to put Finkel in there, haven't you?
What a legend!
The man's a legend, And yeah, Bruce Buffer, Michael did a lot of WCW when he first started out. He was the guy on WCW, and those two were obviously loggerheads against each other.
Didn't he do WWF? Didn't he turn up as a special guest ring announcer for one of the?
Yeah, he's done like a WrestleMania or a SummerSlam, special main event kind of thing, and I think Bruce has done it as well. On WWE. The WWE guys are great in doing what they do. There's some really top guys. I like Justin, who does AEW as well. Justin Roberts. Again, he delivers nice, clean, clear. And Samantha Irwin as well. I've got to give a shout out as well. Yeah. She does. She's a bit crazy about it and really takes the character side of it a bit more than that sort of aspect. And she's built a good following, so it's brought a lot of people into it because of the way that she announces. And if she can bring people an eyes to the product, then she's doing the right job.
This is it,
in my opinion. If you can bring eyes to the stage or eyes to the fighters in the ring, you're doing your job as an MC.
No, 100%. And as you say, she's done a phenomenal job You know, even just to be, I think wasn't the, I'm trying to think what the other lady's name was now that did it before her.
Lillian Garcia.
Lillian Garcia, that was it. What a cracking voice. She had delivery, didn't she?
She did. She's back doing it now again. As
Yeah, I know.
in the WWE, and I'm like going, wow. You know, so yeah, so and then she went off and did a bit of MMA and there's a couple of other things as well. Did PFL in America or Bellator, one of the two. And then obviously, yeah, pop back in again. You know, if you can continue your continuity in your job, then hopefully, you know, the jobs will keep coming forward and keep going on. So, there you are.
Tuukka Koistinen, is that right? From Finland. A Finnish announcer.
As an MC now. See, as an MC, you can kind of go Tuukka Koistinen. You don't know any different.
Where I go, Tuukka. I absolutely rip it to shreds slowly, and you just drag it out and make it sound great. Yeah, so
you go, see, Ral and Tanda and a bit of Forte in there, and you're laughing. So there you go.
But honestly, John, you know, I could sit and talk to you all evening. I genuinely could, because I just think you're a top bloke. And I don't just mean as a ring announcer, human being, just a lovely guy. And yeah, as I say, I wish you all the best. Everyone in the chat wishes you all the best for the future. And as I say, we hope to see you on that night when it comes to that point where you can turn around and go for the world, whatever weight championship it is. We get to hear you do your bit. But honestly, John, you're an absolute star. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much, Joe, for having me on Boxing Media Hub. Thank you.
See you soon. Take care, mate.
Yeah,
God bless.